Welcome everyone to the second ever 100 Days of No Code demo day. Really excited for this one. Before I venture any further, for those of you who don't know, I want to quickly clarify what no code is and what 100 Days of No Code is. I'm aware that most people on this call know what no code is, but for the purposes of the recording and for people that will join later, I want to make sure they do know what both those things are, because if they don't know what they are, then it could be a little bit confusing for the next hour and a half. So I'll take on no code first. So basically there are multiple definitions, from creating software without code to tools that make building websites, apps, and software simple. The bottom line is anyone can now build their ideas, because no code has democratized software creation. So just as phones gave rise to citizen journalists, we're now seeing the dawn of citizen developers. But what does this actually mean? Well, in plain English, anyone can now create websites, apps, and software, regardless of whether you're coming from a non-technical background or technical background. Where does 100 Days of No Code fit into all of this? So we simply help people leverage the power of these no-code tools by giving them an easy framework to follow, that being 30 minutes of no-code learning a day for 100 days. So we also provide wraparound support to help people through these 100 days and beyond. So this includes bringing fellow learners together through weekly masterminds, workshops, a Slack community, one-on-one support, £1,000 worth of no-code tool discounts, and events like this one today. So in a much more succinct way than that, we're basically a habit-fueled learning community, helping each other solve real-world problems by bringing our ideas to life with the power of no-code. And for everyone here tonight, I have an exciting discount for 100 Days of No Code membership to share with you all. So if you buy a membership during or within an hour after this event finishes, I will give you 50% off the yearly membership or pro membership. To redeem this, simply go to our site, grab whichever yearly membership is right for you, and then I will personally refund 50% off your purchase. I'm just going to chuck the details in the chat in case anyone is interested. Cool. So why have we set up this demo day series? Well, as we've established, it's now easier and quicker to build things with no code, which means more things are being created. But there's a disconnect between building and launching in the no code space, which is why today's event is intended to give people a platform to showcase, soft launch, and celebrate their no code projects. And for those not so familiar with no code, I hope it will give you a feel for what's possible, how you can get started, and of course be inspired by what you can create all without code. So now let's get into a bit of the nitty gritty. So what is the format for the event tonight? We'll kick off by hearing from someone that has built 20 plus no-code projects, yes, 20 plus no-code projects, and has taken this movement to the next level through his awe-inspiring projects, relentless belief capital in other creators, including myself, and building in public, which he'll be speaking on today. We will then start the demoing. So after each demoer has finished, it'd be great to get a round of applause for each, and then I want to open it up to everyone for feedback. You have offers of support, you may have any help you can provide, any questions that you have. So we can basically take these projects up a notch and give them the feedback they need to go to that next level. So if you'd like to share feedback, please just raise your hand on Zoom or physically raise it. I'll try and get you. We will only sort of be able to get to 2 or 3 people live. So we've created a feedback document which you can use to just chuck any feedback, questions, or support that you have in the doc for all the demoers tonight. Okay, and finally, some Zoom etiquette. Throughout the event, if you could chuck any questions you have in the chat, that would be amazing. And if you could all keep yourselves on mute, that would be brilliant. And lastly, we want to give each project as much exposure as we can. So I'm hoping we can use the collective network of everyone here today to create some noise. For each project using, you guessed it, the hashtag 100DaysOfNoCode and Twitter handle at 100DaysNoCode, which I'll post in the chat now. Cool. So let's get going. I'm going to pass over to our keynote speaker tonight, who is KP, to talk all about building in public and why it's more important than ever to do so. I'll chuck his sort of handles and Twitter so you can check him out below, but feel free, KP, to come off mute and give us a good start to this event.
Awesome. Thank you, Max. First of all, I want to say I am thrilled to be here. Looks like it's a homecoming. It looks like it's a party here. I see so many familiar faces. Edmund, shout out. Seth, Gilmore. Let's see, Pierre all the way, and Dan Perry. Man, and Doc. Doc's probably streaming this in 7,000 streams somewhere. And a lot of faces, and I'm missing out a few. I think Ash there. So a lot of familiar faces, people who I've worked with in the past, or whom from Kieran, of course, or folks whose work I've watched over the years and over the months, and from people who helped me personally, or folks who've taught me a thing or two. So excited to be here in this community of awesome makers and builders. One thing I want to say before I dive into the build in public speech is thanks to Max. I think thanks from all of us in no code. What you've done with this 100 Days of No Code movement is definitely creating ripples, and I'm sure all of you have benefited in many forms and shapes, but it just took one man to think about this and say, okay, you know what, I remember the conversation I had with Max many months ago, where he said, KP, I'm new to no code, like what can I do, like what are some ways I can engage with the community? And I remember really super superficially, vaguely just saying, just give value and build a community, and then watching now all of that in manifested in real life makes it even more fun. So kudos, Max. We built a great community here, and I'm excited to spend some time with you all and learn about what kind of things you guys have built, and then be part of this demo day. So having said that, I want to take maybe 5 minutes and maybe 6 minutes and talk about build in public. And I feel like I'm almost tongue-tied now, because I think everything that needs to be said has been said on my Twitter, on podcasts, and various interviews. So what I'm about to say, but maybe we can do a fun little exercise, a fun little experiment together to make it something more tangible, something more we all can sort of play with. So how many of you have built or tinkered with something in the no-code space in the last 7 days? So give me a Zoom, raise your hand thing. Okay, all right, I see quite a few hands. Awesome. Okay, so here's a fun build in public exercise that we're gonna do right now. So we have this group chat in here. I want you to take a whole minute, and someone's gonna watch the time. Max, help me out here. 60 seconds from when I say start, and write 2 lines about what you built. Not the full scope. exactly what you tinkered with, right? So if you, let's say, built the landing page for my product, that's okay, put it down. Or somebody's saying like, okay, I built the payment component, put it down. So just 2 lines in 60 seconds. Let's go, everybody. Let's do this. I'm about to watch my time. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Okay. We got to get specific. Geomes, I want something more specific than that. Something very small, very specific. Yes, Emily's getting there. Resource site for product designers and UX. Yes. Doc coming in clutch. Collaborative search engine. Kieran Ball. Tried and failed Glide apps automation. For my wife's newsletter. Okay. Ash, card landing page. All right, you got 7 seconds, everybody. Okay. All right, and that's it. That's it. Let's stop. So, okay, I'm gonna give another 30 seconds if anybody is finishing up a thought. Go ahead. All done? Okay, looks like all done. There's end of the stream. Ray.js face. We have quite a spectrum here. We have people building like OAuth login features, serious things on Bubble, and then we got like people building cool shit like Ray.js face chatbot. Like, come on, this is the power of no code. So, all right, so let's say this is what we've done. This is awesome. The last 7 days, this is the kind of work you put in. Now, I want you to take 30 seconds as we speak and as we think about this, and actually really feel proud that you put something out there, in the world. This whatever you just shared right now, this databases you built, a dollar card. Think about the people in these 7 days who couldn't build what you built. It may be a landing page, it maybe just be the Ray.js face app, but there's billions of people on this planet who couldn't build what you just did the last 7 days. In fact, I'll make it even more personal. 5 years ago, you were not doing what you just did in the last 7 days, So that to me is the power of no code. And that to me is the power of being a builder. So this is building in public, where you reflect, you do something cool, 7 days, 10 days, take a moment to reflect and put it out there on Twitter or Product Hunt or Indie Hackers or wherever, and you really just move on from there. That's it. You just share what you've done, and hopefully if there's value in it, people will learn. And if not, it's okay. You just put it out there. You counted your micro win. So what I was trying to get to is people overestimate what they can achieve in a week and massively underestimate what they can achieve in 90 days or a year. And as folks who've been through this program, great things are not built in a day or 2 days, in a week. Like, nobody makes that crazy progress in a week. So if we are consistently not being in a mindset of appreciation and celebration of what you're doing day in and day out, you're never going to build things that you'll be proud of, in years. So that's how I view build in public, and especially as makers and builders and founders, we wait 6, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months until we get the 10K MRR milestone or TechCrunch article to finally share our whole story in like a saga, one big giant, 4-hour Game of Thrones episode. Like, that's not how it works. That's not building in public. That's not what people want. People want bits and pieces of your struggle, your hustle, your pain. Like Kiran Ball just shared something about failing trying to do glide apps. That's the kind of shit that people want, especially on social media, Twitter, all streams. And that's how I view you can build an audience. And once you build an audience, and to me, the difference between a following and an audience is a following or a list or just a group of people that you have, like email IDs or email addresses or just Twitter followers. They're very superficially involved in your personal life or in your project success or in your journey. An audience is someone who's seen you in and out, and they feel like they have a tiny slice of a part in your journey. So Edmund and I, we talk about this thing where a lot of people think that it's about storytelling, and I think stories, yes, they're storytelling, but it's about weaving a narrative, which means you have to weave every day. Like you have to create something that will pull someone into your orbit every day and put it out there. And it won't happen overnight. It'll take years, and suddenly you'll feel like you have an audience. So that's a high level, top of mind insight I have about building public, and the rest. A lot of this I covered on my Twitter, on podcasts, and in fact, actually, I enjoy interacting with you. I enjoy taking questions from you. So fire off maybe 5 or 6 questions in the next few minutes, and I'll answer them. Max, quick question, Max, do we have time for questions, or
please, let's go for it. Open it up.
All right.
Anyone sort of free questions?
Yes.
Pepe, I see your hand. Come off mute and ask away. Actually, no, I cannot see your hand. That's my mouse. Anyone got any questions for KP? If not, then I do. What is building in public? I feel like some people don't know what that is. And yeah, I love it since I sort of understand it, but like I didn't know what it was beforehand. So I'd love it if you could maybe give a top line.
I think so. Athletes for decades had been doing building in public. If you think about it, right? I mean, people love documentaries that show how I don't know, LeBron James does his workouts, or does his does like learn certain things, or Steph Curry, like the behind the scenes nature of people who are doing cool things. Cool athletes and movie stars, and we've had this, like MTV showed behind the scenes of artists. People always had the fascination for decades about learning about how the sausage is made, like trying to figure out like how these people think and act and build. And there's a saying that I think that says, never meet your heroes or let you down. I actually think it's the opposite. You should meet your heroes to realize that they're normal people, ordinary people like you, except they are insanely passionate about what they do. So they do it day in, day out, right? So something about like, there's this whole community about habits. There's no magic sauce. You'll realize that everybody who is someone who's gotten some success is really putting in the work day in, day out, but they're really enjoying it. So they're picking on things that they love doing, and then they're just doing it day in, day. So building in public is now the new trend of the same behind the scenes nature of figuring out like how people think, except it's for founders and makers. So that's how I would put it.
Amazing. Doc, I think you had a question.
Well, KP, I was going to say, I've seen your journey as you're documenting it on Twitter. Could you talk about a little bit, what if someone is afraid to be vulnerable, or what medium should they choose if they're hesitant or just getting started? Could you talk about that?
Sure. I think so. I played with many formats actually before Twitter, and I realized, you have to bring these two together. The two circles are one, something that you love doing, like some format of content that you love doing, whether it's long form writing, short form writing, which is Twitter, podcasts, video. I think one of these formats, basically, ways in which you can produce content, stories, things that are relevant to an audience, and marrying that with trying to give value to people, but based on like what's resonating, right? So being a listener, being an observer of, hey, here's the kind of content that's resonating, and I love this format anyway, so let me just marry these two. So for me, that is, I love short form writing. I'm a terrible long form writer. Every time I sit down to write something long form, it takes like weeks to finish it. But if it's something quick and insightful, I'm just very quick about that. I don't know. I don't even know why. I just love doing it. For the longest time, I kept doing it, and I realized like, whoa, that is Twitter. Twitter is all about being pithy and quick, and but I kept doing random shit on Twitter. Like I was just like being funny about movies and shit, which added no value to anybody. So since 2018, I pivoted and I decided, okay, I love short form, and I'm going to marry that to something that brings value to people, which is no code or building public or founder stories and startups. And it caught on fire, and from there, it's been great. So if not for Twitter, I think like if you look at Edmund's a natural podcaster. He's born to do that shit. Like he loves talking. He's great on audio. I think if I were Edmund, that's what I would focus on, is just constantly keep putting out audio bites. And like, you guys know Whit Anderson. He's great at, he's a humorist. He loves putting out parody products or pranks and jokes. And so he's building Bad Unicorn along with Ash. Ash is great at card. And so I think just figuring out what you're great at and then just keep doing this over and over again, is the formula.
Cool. No, thanks for that, KP. One more question, and then we'll get into the demos. Pierre, I think you had a question.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm thinking Twitter in terms of building in public. I've been trying to do it more and more, but I remember back to the time that, it was the first tweet that I was going to send, sharing about, I think, No Code Club. That was scary. What are your best, advice or tips to, okay, how do I start? And what are the first tweets to get me going? Because I've seen the results of doing it now. But, it's that first step, getting out of your comfort zone, that I think is really challenging. So yeah, right. What do you have in mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge in the beginning, for sure. What I would do is essentially take notes and observe what's working on Twitter. So if you follow Morning Brew, if you follow, Shane Parrish, from Canada, if you follow like Naval, of course, if you follow, there's like, 7 or 8 people who are crushing it on Twitter, and they're just constantly crushing it because it feels like they're content refineries. It feels like they never run out of things to say or content to put out, which, by the way, probably took years for them to, inculcate that skill set. But I would basically observe and study these tweet forums and shapes, and think about like what is, take my story and then like how can I templatize it in the way that's working clearly, right? So in the beginning, you may have to do like checklists, you may have to do threads, you may have to do some of the basic things on Twitter that works. But over time, like I bet you and I promise you that you will find your own voice, you'll find your own style, you will put your own spin on it. But in the beginning, it's all about like, making sure that you hit the rhythm, making sure that you put in the reps rather than the results, right? The results will 1000% come. And everybody who's on this call who knows me personally, they all know that I started at 200 followers. And this has been my advice to everybody too, to my close friends. Like you have to be on Twitter, especially as now I'm part of On Deck. I'm seeing how much of Silicon Valley is on Twitter, how much of EU is on Twitter, how much of global talent is moving to Twitter. I am a firm believer that you have to, be on Twitter. I don't call it personal brand or whatever, but you have to like be where the builders and founders and the movers are. So for now, that's Twitter, partially indie hackers as well, but it's about spending 30 minutes in a day and putting out 3 or 4 tweets about your story. So.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. Thanks so much, KP. That was epic. Really appreciate the kind words as well. Cool. Now let's get into it. Looking at Sam, because Sam is going to be first up with Metics. So really excited for this one. And yeah, just take it away, Sam. Yeah, all yours.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Max. Thank you, KP. I didn't manage to get my question in, but I'm sure there'll be time a bit later on for me to ask it. But yeah, I think before I get started, I just want to sort of reiterate what KP said about the no-code community, what Max has done. And I just think that it's amazing, because if you told me 2 months ago that I'd be presenting my idea that I built in a few weeks on Bubble, I'll ask you, what are you on about? What's Bubble? What's no-code? Surely it's going to take me 6 months. But here we are, and I'm presenting Metics. I guess by way of introduction, my name's Sam. You might know me from Twitter as Tefenomics1. I'm on about day 60 of my 100 Days of No Code. And yeah, I'm 25 from London, as you could probably tell from my accent. And as it turns out, I'm a bit of a contrarian. I love a debate. I love to discuss hot topics, politics, religion, sports. All of that stuff is just so up my street. And as someone who's sort of been around the no-code space, the need to iterate and improve on ideas has always been something that, I've read about, learned about. But my problem was I would iterate on my business ideas for sure, but I didn't find a place to iterate on my own personal opinions. Where would I iterate on my political views? Who's going to challenge me on my political views? And it would seem that somewhere like Facebook, Twitter might be somewhere to do that. But as it turns out, social media probably isn't the place to do it. Given the speed of social media, I figured, I was jumping to conclusions way too quickly. Other people also doing the same about me. You get boxed in pretty quickly, and then people aren't really listening to you anymore. People are trying to win the argument instead of listen to each other and learn. And we've all watched The Social Dilemma, great film, Netflix. I'm sure everyone's watched it. I'm not going to give you a synopsis. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it straight after this call. But the social media echo chambers we're in feed us a lot of news and opinions that either agree with us or trigger us. And that's never conducive to good social discussion. And, you might have your opinions on what's actually led us down this path of political division, but this is certainly a factor that has played a part. And this all brings me to my core problem that I wanted to solve, which was that social media didn't allow me to disagree constructively with new people. Some of you may have come across situations where at a distance, people seem quite unreasonable. But when you speak to them one-on-one, face-to-face, they never seem as bad as they seem when you see them from a distance. And I've tried to sort of cultivate that in my solution, which is Metics, which allows people to disagree and debate in a one-on-one format. Now, what I've tried to do with Metics is bring people together to have sensible, quick-fire 10-minute debates around topics that they love. And if I just take you over to my landing page, this is my landing page for Metics. This is on Wix. And this is where I want to basically build up my waiting list, build up a list of people who I would launch to, and almost just have this as a landing page for people to visit. The actual app itself is built on Bubble. Anyone who follows me on Twitter will know how much I love Bubble. Ever since I found it, I've been obsessed. But here is my sort of homepage for Bubble. You can tell design is not really my thing, but I promise you this is quite a powerful backend that I've got right here. So basically this quiz is what collects people's opinions, and this is an embedded type form. So this is the first page that people see as soon as they sign in. And you can see here that it's all relatively simple, relatively clean. I'm not going to fill it out in front of you, but essentially the next page is the person's profile. This profile obviously needs a bit of work, but this is Harry Styles. His nickname is Styler, and these are his opinions. So from his type form, I've used Zapier and Airtable to pull his type form responses into the Bubble database. And I'll show you how I've done that in a second. But essentially, he has chosen to answer questions about sport, race, politics, and healthcare. Those are his 4 chosen topics. And now that he's answered the questions in the type form, he's ready to debate. And he presses this button here to start a new debate. And this is really where the magic happens with the Metics backend. So if I take you back into my PowerPoint, I can explain how this works. So we have essentially got to the end of step 4 when you get to that button, but let's backtrack. When he fills out the type form, the data is collected in the type form and sent via Zapier to Airtable as a number. So these are the numbers 0 to 4 that Typeform has given me. Now in the Bubble database, I've minused 2 from each of these numbers so that my answers are all symmetrical. And this allows me to then randomly match the users in Bubble by multiplying the answer code, so -2, -1, by either -1 or -2. So you can see how someone who strongly disagrees with this question can be matched with someone who strongly agrees with this question in a debate. Likewise, if you only just disagree, not strongly disagree, you can still be matched to someone who strongly agrees. And this is really, for someone who's quite an advanced bubbler, this might seem pretty basic, but I'm pretty proud of this, given I've only been in Bubble for a few weeks. So that's the data flow. And if we go back into Metics, we can see here, this is a debate. I'll just start a new debate. JT seems to pop up a lot, but there's not many users in my database. So JT is the person who's going to disagree with Harry Styles for this particular debate. Now, if I open this debate here, you can see that because underneath this debate, there is an assigned topic or an assigned question on which they disagree, I can then pull through a new story, which is an appropriate trigger for this debate. So these 2 individuals seem to disagree about race, specifically Black Lives Matter. So the new story I've given them is a Black Lives Matter news story. So they can open this new story if they want to, they can read it, and then they can get debating here in this box. And hopefully the idea is that they disagree in a civil manner, they challenge each other, they get to understand each other in this one-on-one format. And you never know, they could also change each other's minds. So just going back to my PowerPoint, that sort of concludes my demo of how Metics works. What I have to do from this point forward is obviously finish the build and also drive traffic to the waiting list. I also want in about a few weeks' time to launch on Product Hunt and also add some additional features. So you might have seen in the dashboard, go back to his profile, His dashboard needs a bit of work. I'll obviously beef this up, but this is where each user has statistics. So they have upvotes that they've received from other individuals. They may have even changed people's minds, and there'll be a way for me to measure this. And based on how they debate, what they say, how many messages they send, I'll be able to give them a bit of information on their debating style and potentially also give them feedback on how to improve their method of communication. So that's my to-do list. Some of the things that I was hoping to get a bit of help on, Airtable. If anyone knows an Airtable whiz, that would be amazing, because I need to run a script to finish off some of my, to move around some of the data. And then these two are really just about feedback. If you guys have a look at that landing page, have a look at the actual app in Bubble, and you see anything that you think I should change, or you just got any ideas, just let me know. Yeah, and giving traction is one of my key things to do. If anyone's got any sort of advice on how to build up traction before launch, that would be amazing. These are my socials here. The Metics Twitter is one of the places I'm trying to get traction. I've got like 50 followers in the first week or so. So that's a repository of people that could potentially download and use Bubble in the future. But yeah, I know I'm over time, so thanks a lot, Max, and I'll hand back over to you.
Yeah, Sam, that was epic. Yeah, you're getting plenty of love in the chat. So
really?
Everyone
Okay.
taking their hats off for like your Bubble wizardry in the space of 3 weeks. So yeah, epic. We've probably only got time for like one piece of feedback, but you'll be pleased to know that the feedback doc is being filled out pretty nicely. Yeah, anyone that has got some feedback for Sam, just raise your hand and I'll get to you. Dan?
Awesome. Yeah, that was incredible. Routinely within our community, at our stand-ups, we always talk about how difficult Bubble is. And for you to manage to do that, I am in awe. And yeah, I want to learn everything from you. Yeah, I think that was incredible as a product and as a exercise as well. I could probably help you with the last 2 bits in terms of feedback on the form and how to get new customers and stuff. But one of the key things that you could do, which would be interesting, is being able to have these open debates. And one way for you to be able to potentially get new people is to have the no code versus code debate. Like there's probably people who are really into no code, and then that would be really interesting, right? And then the likelihood is that they've also got some of their own other beliefs that they believe about other things. But if you were to have that discussion on there, you'd probably be able to bring in a whole bunch of people and then and live your best life, best debating life. But yeah, really, really great work. I am so impressed. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dan. I think when I was preparing for this presentation, the first thing I did was I went on YouTube and watched your presentation. It's about 6 months ago, and I thought, fuck, that was good. I need to step up my game. And I sort of threw together that PowerPoint last night. But yeah, thank you for all the feedback. That's certainly something that I'll take forward, and we can chat offline about ways for me to sort of build up that hype and start to get people interested.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sam and Dan, for your feedback. And yeah, definitely check out the doc, Sam. I'll send it to you afterwards, but it's got some good stuff on there. Cool. Let's move on to the next demo from Marta. Yeah, really excited for this one, of course. Feel free to share your screen and get going.
Okay, I will start. Obviously, after this presentation, I think that mine is a bit like too simple, probably, but it's okay. You raise the level, yeah. Not this one. Sorry. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I think you're on
Yeah,
the
this,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, cool. Well, so thank you so much for having me here. You know, I'm very excited. And can you hear me well, everyone? Just to
Perfect. Yeah, really great.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm Marta. I'm a product designer from the sunny Barcelona, but even though that today is a bit cold. So as a designer, I challenge myself to make sure that I can do build a project and go ahead from the whole process, from the idea, the design, build the mobile app, then also focus on the landing page, and at the end launch in Product Hunt. But this is the part that I didn't do it yet, so I will need some feedback. So I created today that, well, nowadays we are super busy, saturated, you know, with doing things that we want to do things. And at least in my case, I have a lot of notes, sticky notes, papers, that they are on my table, you know, and then at the end, I feel that I didn't do anything at all at the end of the day. This is what I wanted to create a simple to-do list app that you have just the task that you want to achieve today, no more. And sorry, here, yeah, this was the thing. So it's a mobile app for iOS and for Android that I basically did. I create all the design in Figma, okay, where I create the navigation flows. And also as a designer, it's essential to be focused and customize the design. Then based on the Figma, I use Bravo Studio. That is the tool that allows me to convert the Figma file into a native app. And where there, then I connect all the content, that it will be stored on the database on the Airtable. And the last piece, it's basically to have the login. So I set up the Firebase documentation and integration to have it all there. Then as well, once the app is finished, I wanted to create a landing page that I was using the tool Webflow, super easy, just to have the typical download buttons for iOS and for Android. And then just to display the characteristics of the app. And pretty much it. Let me just share a mini video I did to display here. Can you see it? Yeah, so it's the login page that you enter. So you enter with your email, obviously. And after that, you will see just the list of the tasks that you have to do today. Well, Product Hunt, I didn't do it yet, but what I'm doing now is the 100 days demo. And it's just the 3 fields. Now it's happening. And just to put a smiley face or a lovely image. So, okay, something fun. And pretty much it. Once it's done, the task, it goes into the list that I have to do today. And when I'm complete, I just check the box and it goes into another list that is just the done. So you can see the list of the complete tasks. That's it. This is the simple match version of a to-do list, but I wanted to focus on that. So, and I challenged myself to make it happen. So what's next? So like I mentioned, obviously, so to gather feedback, focus on Product Hunt. If anyone has recommendation or any feedback or help on how to do any tips for Product Hunt, I will be super glad to get it. So that's it.
Thanks, Marta. That was brilliant. I'm in awe of how clean it looks, and I think that's come through on the comments and the feedback. It just looks super clean. So yeah, congrats on that. Yeah, I'm just going to open it up again. Yeah, anyone got any feedback or anything you'd like to say to Marta after that one? Can't see any hands, but there's quite a few of you. Ross.
Yeah, Marta, I'll just say, Marta, in a world of insane amounts of productivity apps and Kanban and Notion and everything, it's nice to see something so simple, and I could imagine using something like that. So yeah, I think it's a great start and a great MVP.
Okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, so nice.
I have a question. Yeah, how difficult was it to implement the Google Firebase stuff?
Well, by following the documentation, like it's super easy. So you just have to download the packages like the Please or the JSON that they produce to set up on iOS and on Android. And then in Bravo Studio, you just add these files, and it's a way that's just to link with a form specifically, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful app, and it's yeah. What would you like? What would your next feature be?
So maybe one thing that I was thinking is like, maybe because it's like you can go adding things, so at the end it becomes like a long list. Maybe we can just filter or put a limit of just 3 things that you have to do, or like 5, and you can keep adding. But this is why the concept is just to keep it super simple and have just 5 things on the table and nothing else. So just reduce a bit more.
Yeah, really lovely.
Thank you.
Mark, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, Dan asked the same question that I was going to ask. Actually, the integrating Firebase is impressive, and obviously there's something that Bravo are doing to help you do that. Congratulations on building a lovely looking app. I was also wondering if you looked at having any notifications and some sort of time limit on when the tasks are due to be complete.
Not yet, but obviously it would be a nice thing to have, just to get it like more communication when something is done, or even some put like some timer or something. I don't know, just to think about more like
something that is in Bravo. Is that something that it's a feature that it can add in?
I don't think now, not yet. So not notifications, but soon will be released. So hopefully soon.
Excellent. Well done. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
I'll now come to Pierre for last question. Yeah.
So feedback first. I mean, I love it. Really cool to see actually something built with Bravo, because I keep hearing about it and looks really cool. So awesome job. And I think Ross touched upon there's tons of productivity app now out there, but I really like okay, this is my today's task, and I'm not gonna fast forward to the future in 2-3 days. I got to do this. So I really like the concept of just that specific feature. And my question is, can you plan task for 3 days from now?
I will think about how to do it. Probably I mean, the cool thing is that in Bravo you can add like any API, so you can do like some Zapier or connect like some logic behind, and just will be like just display at the end.
I probably wasn't clear on my question, but it's like, if today in the app, can I plan a task for, let's say, Saturday, this coming Saturday?
Not at the moment. I didn't think about that, but it could be a good thing to add. Yeah, when I'm on Saturday, display this on Saturday. Nice.
Yeah, thanks everyone for the feedback, and of course Marta for an amazing presentation. So thanks for all the time and effort you've put into that. That's brilliant. Looking forward to the product hunt launch soon. Okay, so on to Doc Williams. Let's see what he's got to bring to the table. He's, if you don't know him, you will soon, and he's normally doing a million things at once. So yeah, excited for this one. I've probably bigged him up too much now. Sorry, Doc, but yeah, go for
all
it.
a disappointment now. So, well, thanks a lot, Max, for nothing. But no, I'd like to say thanks so much for everyone. I've seen a lot of you on Twitter, and if I haven't seen you, I would love to connect. So yeah, so basically I did this the first round, and Dan and his stupid presentation made me feel bad about myself. So now I asked him to help me in what I should do. So I had to do this. It's going to be in two different parts, but I'll just go through this. So basically, actually what Max was saying at the beginning, I really think that there needs to be something that bridges the gap between just ideas and execution in no code. So I was thinking, what could I do? So I thought about doing a no code business in a box. Now, I wanted to first tell you all just a little bit about myself. I do not like talking about this, but a lot of people ask me like, what do I do? And it's kind of random. So I have a no code agency. So I've run that for about 2.5 years. I was in a bunch of startups. And so it feels like I'm like 75 years old. So I just don't do things in startups anymore because I'm burned out. But I used to do stuff with AWS and all the way to Six Sigma and stuff like that. And you might have seen some videos. I do stuff for trends.co and AppSumo. So I've done about like 450 app reviews now. And then I do like videos like a couple times a day. So that's just a little bit about myself. So what I kept seeing was over and over again, there was too many no code tools available. And I don't mean like too many, but it was really hard to decide which one you should be getting or which one you should be on. And then there was just a lot of overwhelm. And building and launching a no-code business requires testing and reevaluation and input for others. And if this is the first time you've heard of me or what I talk about, I'm really big about testing and then making money off of these projects. I love ideas and I love, like Marta, I mean, that looked beautiful. It's so much better than anything that I've done. And I think that's wonderful. And I also think that there's some people that are trying to get into no code. They build, but they don't have an idea of how to make this sustainable. So I try to see how fast I can make money with using no code. So with this, we're able to, oh yeah, I missed the bullet point. It says it may be easy to build a single tool, but putting all the stuff together. So that goes back to tech stacking. But everyone in this presentation, everyone's talking about their stack. So like, that's amazing. But you see a lot of times people don't know how to do that or where to go. So I kept seeing these problems over and over again. And I was like, what can I do to help? So I'll skip through it. And my solution was creating a no code business in a box. So what was that? Well, it has to do with creating the step-by-steps of what's happening. I was recently cooking because now I'm home and my wife is saying, you cannot just sit here. You have to learn how to cook. So now I learned how to use these little Blue Apron things. And basically, I was looking at, I wanted to create a breakdown of how to create anything that I wanted to and have it just like a HelloFresh or like a Blue Apron box. And I stole my wife's like cooking book of like how it was done. I was like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. I was like, I think that can be done with no code as well. Like if you had your tools, what you would do, like how long it would take you, and then like executing. And so that was my idea of putting it together. And then I just started trying to experiment to do different things. So this one was actually creating a streaming service. And now we have a couple different businesses actually doing this, but I think that's just one of many different opportunities. And so the advantage of doing this no code business in a box, it eliminates frustration. There's so much time where you're spending hours, days watching so many different tutorials. My idea was just getting the very best in every category or what they're doing and just asking them to teach it or the exact steps. And then having that sequence. And then I think there's two other things that, I'll talk about in a second what we have, but it gives you the resources. It allows you to have, allow you to do it with your own unique presence. But the reason I had this was I wanted to provide the steps, the tools, and also an exclusive workshop, not just theory of what's happening, but how to do it and see people struggling, doing it all real time. Like KP was talking about, being vulnerable and building in public. I think that's definitely a proponent. And then I was thinking, okay, well, if everyone had the same vision, wanted to help at the same time, and having a really quick sprint of it, that's what I would do. So with that, I built that out. And let's see. Yeah, and I'll show you an example, but that's just one of the streaming services that I put together. But I'm just going to exit the presentation for a second. But just to show you, at the beginning, you can really do any of these different things. Like this one was for my first million, because a lot of people in that Facebook group were just all over the place of how they wanted to create it. So this was where we created this database of how you were going to go about building out all of those ideas. And really, it's just a Notion page. Yeah, I mean, I'm just using Paperform, and I'm using their database right there. And also I use Restream on the other page just to have it for all my streaming. But just having something to be able to show people how to do it, and having a database like this, so many people are selling custom databases right now of just information. Michael is not here, but Michael did that with Airtable with his lean startup. So I was like, okay, all of these things are right here. What can we do? And that's why I decided to put this together. And on top of that, if there's anything that people wanted me to build, that's why I decided to just put it on my YouTube channel. So right now, I think there's over 150 builds, which are master classes. They're like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But every time someone asks for a video or ask for how to build that, we build out that library. And so that's what I have in store. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Thanks, Doc. That's yeah, that's really cool. And it's yeah, Notion is becoming, I mean, it probably was from the start, but like it's becoming more of a no code tool like every day, which is super exciting, especially for building websites and things that you wouldn't necessarily think of Notion for. So if you're not on there and you want to make some cool websites quickly, then definitely check it out. And yeah, thanks Doc so much for that. Yeah, let's open it up again. Mark, come to you.
Hi Doc, yeah, excellent as usual. Thanks very much for that. I was just wondering about your audience, like your potential users and the sort of demographics that you've been thinking about, and how you're trying to appeal to those sort of the target.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, Mark, that's a really good question. What the target demographic, I find ones that maybe not even identify themselves in no code community, just ones that know that they have a problem and they're just looking to solve it really quickly, and they just need a step-by-step. So I would almost put it ones that have they've already been in business, they've already tried different things, and now they want to pivot and they want to move very quickly. I'm usually targeting ones with those, but I think the common denominator, probably ones that already have a specific skill or a skill set that they deeply understand the problem, and then they're trying to solve it for their demographic. And those are the ones I'm looking for.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions for Doc? Doc killed it yet again. Awesome work from Pierre. Excellent presentation, Doc. Pierre, was that a hand? Was that no, it wasn't a hand. Okay, cool. Dan.
Yeah. Hey Doc. As usual, I hate you. So that's great. What was the most difficult part of this for you?
The presentation, because I'm really bad at doing presentations. I don't know. I think it was, I'll tell you what, I just get scattered a lot and I see a lot of things on Twitter all the time. So I was trying to figure out a framework how I could sift through validating very quickly. So I think it was the workflow first, setting up how I could break down the pieces to do things very quickly, because I just had to stop getting on Twitter because there's just so much going on all the time. And so I think that was the hardest part. But then I think it was Marie, someone that's always talking about Notion, like how to structure. Then I started putting things in like databases and like putting out ideas like that, just so I could like not be overwhelmed, and then go from there. So yeah, I think those are the two things.
Cool. Good question, Dan. Yeah, so let's get moving. Pablo, you're up. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Good. Thank you, Max. And well, congrats to everyone to all the makers who are presenting today. You've done great work. And well, I think the most valuable thing is that the discipline and effort that you put into actually being here today. So yeah, cheers for all of us. Well, I must say though that I feel a bit like you about Dan's presentation right now after your presentation, because well, I don't even have a presentation. I'm just going to show you my app, my Adalo app. So just let me share my screen, please. Okay, well, as you might guess, oh, sorry, need to log out. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, perfectly.
Good. Well, as you may guess, this is a travel app. I built it on Adalo, and well, why I thought of doing this project? Well, three main reasons. The first one is that, well, after spending such a long time in quarantine, in lockdown, well, people have increased the number of outdoor activities they do, like whether it's for exercise or whether it's just walks or riding a bike, who knows? But the thing is that people are looking for opportunities to have options to do outdoor activities. And the second reason, well, here I'm a bit biased. I'm from a city in the north of Peru called Cajamarca. And I just think that there's so many great places, amazing, that they are not even known by the locals. So I think there's an unexplored touristic potential here. So I thought of just curating some directory of these routes, right? And finally, the third reason is that I think that lots of it's my case at least, and I think maybe someone will share it. Sometimes you just don't go on an adventure or just go do something because you don't have a partner to do it with. So I just thought that maybe they could be a place that have both routes, places where to go, and also people who you can go with. So right now, that was the three reasons. I'm going to show you the basic functionality. Like I said, again, I did this in Adalo. So I'm going to log in with my account. So when I'm logging, this is like the home screen. Here you can see like popular routes. This is like an horizontal card list that I can see. Here and in the middle section, I have the events, the upcoming events from members that have shared, and by share meaning that they set the setting of the event to be public, right? So you can join on that event and go with them on the specific date. And well, and in the bottom section, I have the members who are like the top explorers, because my idea is to get this to apply some gamification here and eventually reward my better users, my most engaged users. So here I will showcase the ones who are just at the top. If I go to the the detailed screen of route, we can see like some basic info, the estimated time to complete. I can save this to my gallery. For example, I will do that. And yeah, here it is. I got a map. I connected with the API from Google Maps. And well, since I'm an admin, I can see this option of edit, but I'm not going to press it. And I can plan this route to a further adventure, and this will be shown on my plan tab. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so this is my plan tab. Here I have like my upcoming plans, the ones that I've created. And here I have my invitations, like to other events from other explorers, right? I can either accept or decline it. Yeah, and I can, for example, if I want to create a new plan, I can do so just by inputting some basic information. Yeah. On Sunday, and yeah, the number of spots. Well, I'm considering of not including this option, but I just started with that. With the plan, and then I want to invite some other explorers to come with me on this adventure. So yeah, I'll invite some. Thank you to my friends that appear, whose faces appear here, including, well, yeah, family and Maradona. So I'm going to invite Sam, well, Ross, Sam, and Max. I think we're done. And yeah, and in the Connect tab here, the idea here is, like I said, is to engage with the community, so I can see who are the newest members of the platform. I can follow them. Yeah, let's unfollow Maradona because he's dead now. Yeah, I can follow Sam. So, and then I will see events from them in this section, right? Because yeah, Sam had an event, so here it is. And in the Win tab, well, it doesn't exist yet. So this tab is actually where I'm planning to reward my most engaged users, but I'm still thinking of ways of doing that. But yeah. And in my profile, well, I can edit my information. I can see my plans history, who I'm following. Yeah, rate the app if I've included a link to the App Store or Play Store. And yeah, obviously sign up. And yeah, that will be the demo. Next steps, well, I would like to, well, I'm actually going to Cajamarca in a couple of weeks. I'm in Lima now. So I contact, there's like a Facebook page of people who go on hikes usually. So I'm going to try and get them to test the app and explore which ways we could go. Like I say, if the response with the users is good, I will need to explore how I'm going to reward and maybe engage and offer the app to local businesses that would like to appear there. So that will foster economic activity, especially now that tourism has, well, fell considerably. And well, I think that will be all. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, Pablo. Cool. And you forgot to tell people that was a bit like Sam, really, 2 weeks after like entering Adalo, which is just crazy. Yeah, great work. Who's got any feedback for Pablo? Mark?
Hi Pablo, great work there. It looks like you've come quite a long way with building that. I like the design and the idea. I was just wondering if there's any feature for users to communicate with each other, like an integrated chat feature that could be done there. And if something you've thought about there, and
that's one of the next things that I'm going to build after this first test that I'm going to do in a few weeks.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that would be really useful for users to help them, unite and meet up and sort of if you've got a group of people there, that would be a great feature. But yeah, best of luck with your looking to market it there, and yeah, I'd like to see how you do with it in the future. Excellent work.
Thank you.
I see a question from Emily.
I just wanted to add that I'm obsessed with this concept, and I think it's going really well and has a crazy amount of potential. So I just wanted to add that in. That's all.
Thanks.
Cool. Time for one more question or bit of feedback, if anyone has any. Otherwise, we're Krishna. I'll come to you.
Yeah, hi. Hey, amazing concept. So just wanted to add, like, if it's possible that, this particular social feed can be added where people can broadcast that, they're going somewhere or this is their route that they're taking. Is that something you envision adding it as well?
Yeah, I think there's a limitation there. One, because, well, currently Adalo doesn't have like offline activity. And also because you don't have a signal in most of, in most of the routes, you just go really, really far places. But yeah, I think I could think of a way of like showing evidence that an event happened.
Yeah.
Right. So that will engage more users into doing more events.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah, like a leaderboard of how much everybody's been traveling. I think that might probably help. Just an idea. But amazing work. Thank you so much. This is great. Very inspirational stuff.
Thanks.
Great. Thanks for that, guys. And Pablo, that was brilliant. Cool. Now, yeah, that's flown by. We're on to our last demo. Ross, can't see. Oh, there you are. Yeah, again, looking forward to, I've been looking forward to everyone's demos because I know how much work you've been doing, but yeah, just come off mute and go for it.
Great stuff. Thanks, Max. Yeah, cool. So yeah, thanks everyone. Great to be part of this community. I've been so impressed being part of the mastermind group with Pablo and Sam over the last couple of weeks. They've been awesome. And I think Max has really created a powerful community here, which shows, while we're all working a lot on our own, how great it is to just be part of an online community like this. So I will come to mine now. Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, all good.
Cool. Okay, so I think I'm probably the more basic side of no code to finish us off today. I've basically joined the no code community as a writer, and I know there's probably less writers in this space because, well, I guess it's not a particularly hard thing to do to set up. But I'm writing about the idea of mindful ambition for restless achievers. This is something which has kind of come about over the last year or so. I started writing about the idea of in life, we should go about our lives trying to collect dots rather than connect them. And you'll probably recognize this. It's inspired by Steve Jobs' quite famous quote where he talks about how we should connect the dots looking backwards and try less so to connect the dots looking forwards in our lives. And I think in a sort of a philosophical sense, I think a lot of people and a lot of my generation are spending a lot of time looking into the future and trying to work out how the dots are going to connect, failing to recognize that actually just collecting them is what it's all about and seeing where they lead. So that's kind of a bit about what this is all about. And basically, it's just been a gradual process. I built this on Webflow. I was completely new to, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, I was completely new to this kind of thing. I recently left my job at a management consultancy, and I've kind of taken the plunge to try and do something differently with my life and try and take a few risks. So yeah, I basically just wanted to start this up as a bit of writing. So as I said, built on Webflow. It's been a pretty enjoyable thing to build out and learn a bit more about. In the last couple of weeks, I've basically been, in the last 8 weeks, I've been managing myself and managing the way I've been creating my products and services as a business, which I'm doing some consulting for myself now. I've been managing myself in 2-week sprints, coming from a kind of agile background. And so in terms of my newsletter, which hopefully is loading, I've basically been sharing one newsletter with my community per sprint. And it's basically just been going through and talking about kind of what I've been up to. So very much, as KP talks about, very much kind of the build in public mindset. So this sprint, the first sprint, for example, was just talking about some getting started, some reflections, and some thoughts of my first sprint of self-employed life. And I basically broke it down into a similar sort of style and format that I've seen before in this kind of space. So what I've been up to, followed by what I wrote, what I read, and what inspired me. And then I even threw in a playlist that I enjoyed that sprint, and a spotlight on someone who had inspired me and helped me the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I've basically been kind of evolving the writing and the thinking more and more. And yesterday I shared another piece, which was basically talking a little bit more about experimentation and how using kind of lean startup thinking, how perhaps we can apply this kind of startup thinking and startup mindset to our own lives, and see our lives and the different tests and things we do in our lives as more of an experiment and more of an opportunity to learn. So yeah, I mean, I'll stop there probably. I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's been an enjoyable process. It's been great to be involved in the no-code community because, you know, with writing, I started out with a Substack blog, quite quickly realized that Substack is a great place to write if you're looking to just send things out to a newsletter, but it makes it a little bit harder to create a kind of a long-term community and sort of a subscriber base. And I do have a vision for how I would like to turn this kind of community, this into more of a community of what I'm calling restless achievers. But I'm just kind of making little steps, trying to figure out what that community would look like and what kind of value I'd be able to offer people. So yeah, that's me. Thanks everyone.
Cheers, Ross. Yeah, I think you're definitely underplaying yourself. You definitely belong, yeah, in this community if you're a writer or whatever. Like, so great work, great content, and yeah, please like drop him a subscribe, because I've been reading the newsletter over the last few weeks and it's like super insightful. So yeah, just drop him subscribe and you won't regret it. Yeah, so you know the drill by now. Has anyone got any feedback? Mark.
Hi Ross, excellent looking website there. How did you find getting stuck into Webflow? Is it something that you're experienced with, or did you start from scratch there?
Yeah, I started from scratch. I had built out a little like a little blog a couple of years ago when I finished uni on WordPress, and yeah, I mean this, you know, Webflows now seems like the place to be, I guess, and I kind of wanted to be in that place, I guess. So yeah, I went into Webflow, had a crack at it. I did actually. I thought it might be a cheating thing, and then I spoke to Max. I was like, "Is this cheating if I go for a template?" So I did use a template, borrowed some ideas from it, like kind of brought different things across. So yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, Webflow is quite an amazing platform, really. I've been enjoying it, and I'm excited to see kind of how I can go from there, and even just good things to learn, like, you know, setting up a campaign, an active campaign, using Zapier to do the integration. Like, there's just been basic things which are really valuable to have learned for whatever I do going forward.
Well, excellent. I can totally relate to what you're doing. I'm in a similar sort of position, self-employed, and you know, looking for sort of opportunities. So perhaps we should connect offline and sort of chat about some shared themes there. But I wish you the best of success. You've done a great job there, and congratulations.
Thanks very much. That's really kind. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Mark. Anyone else before we wrap up? Dan.
Yeah, I think I said in the chat, but the Steve Jobs quote is excellent, and I think the whole thing that you've done is just really nice in terms of putting everything together, having a content piece, focusing on the skill that you've got, but then also using no code to start a thing. And it's, yeah, you've done a really good job. So I think, yeah, it's just wanted to say that. And then, yeah, what are your future plans? Like, what do you want it to be?
Well, I mean, there's a part of me which, I mean, so I'll be quite frank. I worked at Accenture for 3 years, and I basically got a bit restless and started to feel like I didn't want to be in that kind of space anymore. Big consultancy with 500,000 people. And I think there's a lot of people who may well be in that position, and maybe will be a bit restless, not necessarily in that company, but many companies. And I'm currently building up my own sort of products and services, but I also want to offer a way to inspire people to actually think about how they might be able to do that in their lives. So the community may well be kind of a place to help transition people from one place to another, and maybe I'll link people up to things like the no code community and all these different spaces that you can get involved in, and help people figure out what they want to do and what they actually want.
Cool, that's a great idea. Easy acquisition, and you know the customer already, and then you can just build stuff for them. So it's great.
KP, me and Ash were wondering whether you were raising your hand or just resting it on your shoulder.
Just resting.
Just resting.
But I want to make a comment about the pitches so far and the demos so far. I think I'm blown away by the level of details that went into a lot of the design, which I think is a breath of fresh air, as many can attest. In the no-code space, for a while we suffered through lack of good design, and I think today most of the demos, all of the demos I've seen so far have been beautifully designed, including in Bubble. So Sam, that's quite a feat right there. In doing that in Bubble, as many can attest. So congrats everybody. It's great work so far.
Thanks. Yeah, KP. Cool. I think I'm gonna sort of enter into my outro. Is there anything anyone wants to say before that? Just to sort of wrap things up before I take us, sort of lead us out. Just wanted to give people an opportunity to say something if they want to say something after tonight's pitches or demos. Pierre.
No, it's just I think I hope I talk for everyone, but you've been doing something really awesome, and you've really helped us along the way of building products with no code, and creating that sense of community where we can have support and help from each other. So it's just a big thank you to you and to everyone who's here, pretty much.
Thanks, Pierre. Yeah, really appreciate it. Those words. Cool. I'll just wrap up for today. So I wanted to just talk about next steps from here. So we'll be adding each of these projects to our website, so you can take a closer look and sign up to them if you didn't get a chance tonight. We'll also be uploading the recording tomorrow or the day after, so you can rewatch or share with your friends who may be interested. And then our next demo day will be on the 4th of March. So it's quarterly. So if you would like to be launching your projects at our next demo day, then feel free to join the community, of course. And don't forget that we've got the discount for membership tonight that's basically got an hour left. So it's 50% off our yearly, either pro or just the normal one. I'll refund 50% off after you purchase. And we also have an upcoming beginners course for anyone that wants to sort of take their first steps in no code, which I'll just chuck in the chat. And now I'd just like to say a few thank yous. Firstly to our sponsor, Softer, incredible no code tool. The 100 Days of No Code website is built on Softer. That's how much I love it, and I know lots of the no code community does as well. So we really appreciate them for helping us make this event possible. Our keynote speaker, of course, KP. Really appreciate you being here and giving us all really great insight and tips to start building in public, and just the support you've given us. And of course the demoers for showcasing some mad projects that were really inspiring. And then everyone else here today, thanks so much for supporting. And yeah, if you've enjoyed today's event, any love on social media or any sharing in your networks is of course much appreciated. Whether that's for the projects or 100 Days of No Code, please share. And if you've got any feedback for today's event, then just let me know. That'd be great, so we can make the next one even better. And yeah, now if you want to just feel free to like share your Twitter handles in the chat, just so people can connect with people at the event. That would be amazing. I know most of us here already follow each other, but I'm sure some don't. So just drop your handles, and yeah, hopefully that gives people a chance to drop you a follow. And lastly, those here who are new to the space and are curious to find out more, really just feel free to email me or message me on Twitter, and I'll drop my details below in the chat. Yeah, and I can help you get started. So that is a wrap from my end. Thanks everyone for coming, and have an amazing Christmas. And yeah, hopefully see you at the next one. That's it for me. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Max.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you.
Applause, round of applause, everyone.
Max.
Good job, man.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you guys.